Eala has left the Philippines for America, but the most important thing traveling with her is not inside her luggage. It is a promise. Before beginning the North American hard court swing, Alex sent a deeply personal message to the Filipino fans who had welcomed her home. She thanked them for sharing their stories. She spoke about the pride she feels every time she represents the Philippines. Behind those words was a truth that makes this trip different from every American tournament she has played before. Alex is no longer arriving as an unknown young player hoping someone notices her. She is arriving as the face of Philippine tennis. That sounds like a dream, but dreams become heavy when an entire nation begins dreaming through you. Her first test will come in Washington. The opponents know her now. Coaches have studied her patterns. Cameras will follow her more closely. Fans will expect more. Beside her in doubles will be Venus Williams, one of the greatest champions in tennis history. So this trip is not only about another tournament. It is about what happens after a breakthrough. Can Alex turn national pride into strength? Can she play freely when every result feels larger than one match? Can she keep growing after the entire tennis world has finally learned her name? Only days earlier, Alex had been surrounded by fans in Manila. Children waited to see her. Families raised Philippine flags. People told her that her victories had changed the way they imagined the future. For a brief moment, she was not only a professional athlete returning home. She was proof. Proof that a Filipino player could stand on the biggest courts in tennis. Proof that the sport did not belong only to countries with deeper systems, larger budgets, and generations of champions. Proof that one player could change the imagination of an entire nation. Then the celebration ended. The cameras changed. The crowds disappeared, the flight doors closed. Alex turned toward America, where applause cannot win a point. In Washington, nobody will give her a match because her story is inspiring. Nobody will care how many fans cried during her homecoming. The hard court will ask the same cold question it asks every player. Can you do it again? That is why her message mattered. It was more than a thank you. It was more than a farewell before another tournament. It sounded like Alex reminding herself why the pressure exists before she had to face it again. The love of a nation can lift a player. It can also tighten the arm at the worst possible moment. To understand why Alex now carries both feelings, we have to return to the girl who once rushed to practice after school, long before America knew her name. Long before center court, Eala was a young girl with a racket, a family, and a dream with no clear road in front of it. She grew up playing tennis with her brother and her grandfather. Tennis became part of family life before it became a profession. Alex once described herself as a little girl with round cheeks, ruffled socks, and shoes that lit up when she moved. That image matters. The player now entering American tournaments can look inevitable from a distance. Fans see the ranking. They see the victories. They see her standing across the net from champions. But none of this was inevitable. No Filipino singles player had ever reached the second week of a Grand Slam in the Open era. There was no national blueprint waiting for Alex. There was no line of champions from home showing her what the next step should look like. She had to leave home and build the road herself. Moving to Spain and training at the Rafa Nadal Academy gave Alex access to elite coaching, stronger competition, and a professional environment. It also required her to grow up far from the place that gave her identity. Moving to Spain meant more than changing training courts. It meant missing ordinary days at home, learning how to recover far from family, and accepting that progress would often happen without applause. Airports, hotels, practice sessions, and lonely losses became part of the price. She was not only trying to become good enough for the WTA Tour. She was trying to reach a level no Filipino woman had reached before. That responsibility can feel beautiful when the victories come. It can feel lonely when they do not. Junior success gave Alex an early sign that the dream was real. She won the U.S. Open girls singles title in 2022. The victory created excitement, but junior success never guarantees professional success. The senior tour is faster, it is stronger, it is less forgiving. She played smaller events. She fought for ranking points. She learned how quickly momentum could disappear. One strong week could lift her. One early loss could send her back into another cycle of travel, training, and doubt. There was no guarantee that the breakthrough would come. That is why the stories from Filipino fans affected her so deeply. Alex was not only hearing praise from strangers. She was hearing proof that the lonely years had reached people she had never met. A child asking for a first racket may never appear in a match statistic. A family staying awake in America may never meet Alex in person. Yet those reactions show why her victories matter beyond prize money. They turn an individual career into a national possibility. Those moments cannot be measured by ranking points, but they explain why Alex spoke with such pride before leaving home. Her results now travel far beyond the scoreboard. Every victory gives people permission to imagine something larger. Every appearance makes Philippine tennis more visible. Every time her name is announced in a major stadium, a country once far from the center of the tennis world moves a little closer to it. That is a beautiful responsibility. It is also a dangerous one. Once people see an athlete as proof, every defeat can begin to feel like disappointment. The public sees the celebration. The athlete feels the expectation. That tension now follows Alex into America. The hardest part of her journey did not begin when nobody believed in her. It began when almost everyone finally did. Success did not remove the doubt around Alex Eala. It made the doubt louder. Before Wimbledon, Alex owned a record of 1 win and 5 losses in Grand Slam main draws. That did not look like the beginning of a revolution. It looked like the record of a talented young player still learning how to survive at the highest level. 1 win, 5 losses. That was the reality behind the excitement. Alex had already shown flashes of something special. She had beaten elite opponents. She had climbed the rankings. She had attracted supporters far beyond the Philippines. But professional tennis does not reward flashes for long. Then came Miami. Alex defeated major champions and reached the biggest semifinal of her career. She beat Jelena Ostapenko. She beat Madison Keys. Then she shocked Iga Swiatek. Suddenly, the tennis world was no longer asking who Alex Eala was. It was asking how far she could go. For Filipino fans, Miami felt like the moment everything changed. Alex had not simply won a few matches. She had defeated players whose names were already part of tennis history. The victory over Swiatek carried the greatest impact. Swiatek had controlled countless matches with depth, movement, and relentless pressure. Alex stood across the net and refused to shrink. She attacked early. She changed direction. She trusted her instincts. She competed without asking permission. Then she won. But the greatest week of a career can create a new problem. The next event begins with everyone watching. Opponents study the footage, coaches search for weaknesses. Expectations rise. A normal defeat no longer feels normal because the public has already seen what the player can do at her best. After Miami, Alex was no longer allowed to develop quietly. Every result became evidence. A win meant the breakthrough was real. A loss made people wonder whether Miami had been a beautiful accident. Then came the Grand Slams. These tournaments are where reputations become permanent. They are also where every weakness becomes visible. The courts feel larger, the crowds become louder, the pressure lasts longer. Before Wimbledon, Alex had not yet built a consistent record at that level. Her talent was clear, but the results remained fragile. Could one brilliant week in Miami overcome repeated disappointment at the majors? Could Alex carry Philippine tennis into a new era if she could not survive the opening rounds of the biggest tournaments? Could the belief around her grow faster than her ability to manage it? Wimbledon answered those questions in the most dramatic way possible. Alex advanced through the opening rounds and reached Iga Swiatek again. This time, the setting was different. Miami had been a breakthrough. Wimbledon was a test of whether Alex could reproduce that courage on the most famous stage in tennis. There was nowhere to hide. Center court, a defending champion, a global audience, a nation watching. The first set lasted 84 minutes. Alex faced 2 set points. One loose service game could have changed the entire match. This was the moment when pressure should have become fear. Instead, Alex kept moving forward. She did not play like someone begging to survive. She played like someone who believed the court belonged to her too. She absorbed the pace from Swiatek. She changed direction early. She trusted her left-handed patterns. She attacked when the safer choice would have been to wait. Then she won the first set. The match was not finished. Many young players experience a drop after surviving a dramatic opening set against a champion. The body relaxes, the mind races ahead. The favorite sees the opening and takes control. Alex did the opposite. She became more decisive. She won the second set by 6 games to 2 and completed the greatest Grand Slam victory of her career. The tears came after the final point. Her words on court made clear that the moment meant far more than a place in the next round. This was history. Alex became the first Filipino singles player to reach the second week of a Grand Slam in the Open era. For the first time, the possibility that began with one girl and one racket had become visible to the entire tennis world. The victory also removed the safest explanation for her rise. Nobody could dismiss Miami as one perfect week anymore. Nobody could say that the first win over Swiatek had happened because the champion simply had a bad day. Alex had done it again, on a larger stage, under heavier pressure. That should have made everything easier. It did not. The standard changed immediately. Some fans began imagining a semifinal, others imagined a final. Some began talking about Grand Slam trophies and a place among the biggest names on the WTA Tour. The dream expanded faster than Alex could process it. Then Jasmine Paolini ended the run. Alex left Wimbledon with history, respect, and a new level of attention. The loss also showed how narrow the margin remained. One match could make her look unstoppable. The next could reveal the distance still left to travel. That is the contradiction surrounding her return to America. Alex is more accomplished than ever. She is also under more pressure than ever. She has proven that she can defeat the best. Now she must prove that those victories can become a pattern. She has inspired an entire country. Now, she must find a way to compete without feeling responsible for every dream that country has placed on her shoulders. She has entered the top level of the sport. Now, every opponent will prepare for her as a threat. The answer may not be to make the pressure disappear. The answer may be to give the pressure a purpose. For most of this story, national support has looked like extra weight. Every flag became another expectation. Every inspired child became another reason Alex could not afford to fail. Every historic victory made the next match feel even more important. But that view misses something important. Alex does not appear to be running away from what the Philippines represents. She is moving closer to it. That is the deeper meaning of the message she shared before leaving Manila. She did not ask supporters to expect less. She did not create distance between herself and the millions watching. She focused on the stories they had shared with her. She focused on the pride of representing home. She focused on why the attention existed. The difference is enormous. Pressure tells a player that she must win because losing will disappoint everyone. Purpose tells a player that she gets to compete because her journey has already opened a door for others. Center court had already shown that pressure did not automatically make Alex smaller. Under the brightest spotlight of her career, she became more aggressive, more decisive, and more willing to trust the game that had brought her there. Purpose can help a player recover after losing a set. It can help her accept pain without treating the pain as proof that she does not belong. It can remind her that one defeat cannot erase the path she has already opened. Think about the difference between carrying a suitcase and carrying a torch. A suitcase is dead weight. You drag it because you have to. A torch is also heavy. The arm still gets tired. The road still feels long. But you carry it because the light has to reach somewhere. Alex is not simply carrying expectations from the Philippines. She is carrying possibility toward the next generation. That changes the emotional equation. When she looks into the crowd and sees Philippine flags, she is not only seeing people demanding victory. She is seeing families who stayed awake through the night. She is seeing Filipinos living far from home who finally recognize themselves in a major tennis stadium. She is seeing young players who may now believe that elite tennis is not reserved for someone born somewhere else. That can create pressure. It can also create clarity. The stories Alex heard during her return to Manila may have given her exactly that. A ranking can tell Alex where she stands among other players. A message from a young Filipino girl can tell her why standing there matters. That distinction explains why her words before leaving home felt so personal. She was not trying to separate herself from public expectation. She appeared ready to accept the responsibility while giving it a healthier meaning. That matters because athletes often struggle after a breakthrough for reasons that have little to do with technique. Alex now faces the challenge of doing the opposite. She must use the attention without becoming trapped by it. There is a huge psychological difference between believing that millions of people are waiting to judge you and believing that millions of people are walking beside you. The first belief creates fear. The second can create courage. Now comes Washington. Alex will enter a major American hardcourt event with more attention than she has ever carried into this part of the season. She is no longer the unknown teenager who can surprise a top player before the opponent understands her game. The tour knows her now. Coaches have studied the matches. Opponents know the danger of her left-handed patterns. They know she can redirect pace. They know she can take the ball early. They know that allowing her to build confidence can quickly change a match. That means her next challenge is not simply winning. It is winning after the world has adjusted. Washington will test whether the clarity Alex found in Manila can survive professional pressure. There will be no ceremony when she serves at breakpoint. There will be no national award when she faces a difficult return game. There will only be decisions. Attack or defend. Trust the shot or hesitate. Stay present or begin thinking about what a loss might mean. Alex will also reunite with Venus Williams in doubles. That partnership creates one of the most fascinating images of the tournament. Venus represents one of the greatest tennis legacies in American history. Alex represents a nation experiencing this level of tennis visibility for the first time. One player helped define an era. The other is trying to begin one. Standing beside Venus will bring more cameras and more attention. It may also give Alex a close view of how a champion carries expectation without allowing it to control every movement. How do you remain yourself when people turn you into a symbol? How do you protect the joy of competition when every match becomes a public event? How do you continue learning when the world already expects finished results? A doubles partnership cannot answer every question, but the experience may become valuable far beyond one tournament. Washington will also reveal something more basic. Can Alex recover from the emotional high of Wimbledon and Manila? That is why Washington matters. It is not only the next tournament, it is the first test of the new reality. In Miami, Alex proved she could defeat champions. At Wimbledon, she proved she could repeat that courage on a larger stage. In Manila, she learned how deeply those victories had affected people beyond the court. Now, in America, she must prove that inspiration and consistency can exist together. The surprise factor is disappearing. Now comes the harder stage. Consistency. Can she win when everyone knows she is dangerous? Can she recover when the first set goes wrong? Can she remain aggressive when expectation tells her to become careful? Can she accept an early loss without feeling that she has failed an entire country? Those questions will not be answered by one speech or one social media message. They will be answered point by point. Washington may bring another historic run. It may bring a difficult early defeat. Tennis offers no guarantees, even to a player carrying the hopes of millions. But one truth has already changed. Alex no longer has to prove that a Filipino player can belong on the biggest stages. She has already stood across the net from champions and beaten them. She has already survived pressure that should have overwhelmed her. She has already opened a door that did not exist before. Now she must learn how to keep walking through it. That is a different challenge. Before, Alex was chasing possibility. Now, she is managing proof. Before, people hoped she might belong. Now, opponents prepare because they know she does. Before, one big win could feel like a miracle. Now, the tennis world will ask for another. That is what success does. It turns the impossible into expectation. So what was Eala really carrying when she left the Philippines for America? Not a burden she needed to escape. A purpose she had chosen to accept. The message she sent to Filipino fans mattered because it revealed the difference between playing for approval and playing with meaning. Approval can disappear after one bad match. Meaning survives. A ranking can fall. A tournament can end early. A perfect draw can suddenly become difficult. None of that changes what Alex has already shown millions of people. She has shown that a Filipino player can defeat the best women in the world. She has shown that the Philippine flag can appear on center court because of tennis. She has shown young athletes that the place where a dream begins does not have to decide where it ends. That is why this return to America feels different. Alex is no longer chasing only her own breakthrough. She is entering Washington with a new identity. Opponents will prepare for her. Fans will expect more from her. Cameras will follow her more closely. The easy part is over. The surprise is gone. Now comes the work of becoming consistent without losing the freedom that made the breakthrough possible. The Philippines cannot play the matches for her. The fans cannot return serve. The flags cannot save breakpoint, but they can remind her that the journey is larger than one result. When a player truly understands that, pressure begins to change. It becomes energy. It becomes clarity. It becomes a reason to fight through the moments when confidence disappears. Eala did not leave home behind when she began this trip. Home is in the stories fans shared with her. Home is in every Philippine flag waiting inside an American stadium. Home is in every young player watching and thinking that this path might be possible for them too. Washington is only the next chapter. The larger question is what Alex will become now that the entire tennis world is preparing for her. Will this support lift her toward another historic moment? Or will America reveal how difficult the next level truly is? The answer will begin the moment Eala steps onto the court again.